What's up, guys? Brandon here, and I am back with another action figure review. Today we're taking a look at the Spider-Man Homecoming 3-pack. Spider-Man, Vulture, and Iron Man. Extremely excited to have this 3-pack. I actually have not found it in any store, but rather at Walmart.com. It was like 17 bucks and some change, and I knew I really wanted it. I was waiting for this pack to hit the shelves. Didn't find it, so lo and behold, Walmart.com came through, and it was pretty cheap. So extremely excited to have this. I can't wait to open up these figures, especially that Iron Man, and take a closer look. Alright, so now that we have our figures out of the packaging, let's first take a look at some of the sculpt work. Spider-Man is a combination of two previous Spiders. He's got the same paint as the original Spider-Man that was released, and then his face has two eyes, one being bigger than the other, and that's reminiscent of the Spider-Man with the green lines that we previously got. But he's essentially more or less the same figure. However, if you're trying to get a Spider-Man that has original paint with one eye bigger than the other, you're only going to find it in this 3-pack. Taking a look at Vulture, he is exactly the same as the previous release Vulture that we got. There's absolutely nothing different about him. Of course, the wings detach, but they come already pre-assembled in the box on his back. Definitely exactly the same as the previous Vulture that we got. And then Iron Man, probably the best or the most anticipated figure for me out of this 3-pack, looks very cool. I absolutely love the paintwork on this guy, and the sculpting is phenomenal as well. Definitely looks a lot like the Ultimate Iron Man for me from the comic books. Very cool. I love that metallic cherry red. My Iron Man unfortunately has a little extra paint back here, but that's probably just mine. Shouldn't all have that. And the back of the figure looks fantastic as well. Very cool paintwork. I hope that we get some more figures like this Iron Man for the Infinity War coming out sometime next year, I believe. It would be great to get figures in this scale at a cheaper price as opposed to the Marvel Legends. There you have it, some fantastic sculpt work on these figures. So taking a look at articulation, first at Spider-Man, we do have movement in the neck, side to side, movement in the shoulder, up and down, back and forth, movement in the elbow, bends pretty good, and there's a cut as well, so it rotates. No ab crunch, no waist articulation. That's what you're going to get with these figures. But makes up for it in the sculpt work, I think. Definitely. At about $7 or $8 a figure. Not so bad. So we got movement in the hip. Went forward. Doesn't really go back. And we got movement in the knee. Forward. Back. And we do have a cut, so it twists. So that about does it for our articulation with Spider-Man. Very nice basic looking figure. And then to talk further about what I was saying, how he is a mix of two Spider-Mans. I've actually got both right here. So you can see our Spider-Man with the green lines. They share the same face. Exactly the same. And I've tried to do this before. My camera won't really get it. But you can see that there is some shading or sculpting or in this face in particular, the lenses, they are in the right eye. It just does not come up on my camera. And then of course the paintwork is exactly the same as the original Spider-Man. So this Spider-Man is definitely a mix of the two, for sure. Spider-Man does come with an accessory. He's the only figure out of the 3-pack that does. And so basically it's just webs. Nothing new, we've seen this before, and it just fits onto his hand just like that. You can pretend that he's swinging from it or whatever works for you, but there's not really any good way to pose it. But yeah, so at least we get an accessory. It's definitely better than nothing. I'm definitely happy to have webs on a Spider-Man figure. And now taking a quick look at the Vulture figure. Again, standard figure, the exact same thing that we got before. We get moving in the neck, side to side. Does look up and down. Moving in the shoulder, comes out about that far, forward and back, of course hindered by the wings. Very, very basic articulation. And then we have moving in the leg, up and back, just not really at all. So that's our Vulture figure, and then like I said, he does come with the wings. They do detach, so that's what it looks like back there, just some peg holes. And then the wings also separate in half. When you get the wings in the package, though, they're already pre-assembled and they're already on his back. They just clip back on just like that. You can clip them right onto his back, and there you go. Very nice looking Vulture figure. And I actually have the classic Vulture, or the previous Vulture, the first release. So you can tell they are exactly the same figure. So nothing new here. So if you don't have Vulture already, getting him in a 3-pack is probably the best thing you can do for yourself. Taking a look at our Iron Man figure now, I've got to say he's absolutely the coolest figure out of the 3-pack. So articulation, real stiff, but he does have movement in the head, side to side. Does not look up, looks down a little bit. Movement in the shoulder, forward and back. And then we also, it can come out, but not very far. And then unfortunately, no articulation further in the hand or in the elbow. And then no waist articulation, no ab crunch. And then moving in the leg forward and not far back at all. So it's a cool figure, definitely happy to have it, but the articulation is lacking. Spider-Man has a lot more articulation than our Iron Man figure does, but just having them, the two of them, they look fantastic next to each other. And then for a quick comparison, I have the Iron Man from Civil War. They are basically the same armor, so keeping that in mind, there's not much that is different, armor wise. It's basically just paint. And then I believe that they did make this same armor from Homecoming in a Marvel Legends 2-pack. But if you haven't found that yet, like I haven't, this is definitely a fantastic alternative that is much cheaper. But all in all, really good stuff. Really happy to have found this 3-pack. And for 17 bucks, that's a fantastic bargain for some great figures. So if we're comparing our 3-pack to the rest of the figures that we've gotten so far from the basic Homecoming line, this is basically what we're looking at as a whole. This is every figure so far. And I gotta say, they all look pretty darn cool together. So our Spider-Mans are always going to be in scale with one another. Vulture is always going to be shorter than Spider-Man, and Iron Man for that matter. Iron Man is always going to be taller than Spider-Man, and Shocker is a very good scale figure. He's about the same height as Iron Man, and just a little bit taller than Spider-Man. So, all in all, they look really, really cool. You could basically take these 5 figures right here and say that that is everything that we saw in the film. So you get more of a variation with the basic figures, and you get them for a cheaper price. So I am definitely happy to have these, for sure. All in all, guys, 17 bucks, Walmart.com, amazing 3-pack. Definitely some great movie memorabilia, and some really great figures, especially the Iron Man. So if you haven't picked up this pack yet, if you haven't gotten any basic figures yet, do it. Get this pack and get Shocker, and you should be set. Good to go. Alright guys, thanks a ton for watching. Once again, I'm Brandon. The likes, the comments, the subscriptions, everything that you guys do, couldn't be done without you. I really appreciate all the support. thanks, guys. I got some more stuff in store, some more Marvel Legends, some Justice League stuff coming, so stay tuned. And thanks for watching. But the sculpt work, I think, definitely makes up for it. Moving in the hip, and moving in the knee, up and down and side to side. And that's my. Yes, Max. What is it, buddy? Okay.